Hello, sixth grade, and welcome to your very first mini lesson in reading class. So, today we're going to learn and talk all about stop and jots. You might have heard Miss Julia and I discussing this at some point in class, or you might have done this before in elementary school. We are going to have stop and jots all year. So, what are we going to work on today? We will spend majority of the time reading. We're going to learn strategies to improve our reading, but today's focus is mainly on stop and jots. While reading today, you are going to practice stopping and jotting down ideas that you have about a text. So, I have been reading this book called When We Collided by Emery Lord, and I have a few jots that I want to share with you. So, as I started reading, I noticed and started to think, the main character is much more like the other main character than I thought. So the main character's name is Jonah, and there was an important scene in the book where Jonah's mom had a panic attack, and his friend Vivian, who's staying for the summer, she comes to the rescue to sit with Jonah's mom until he gets to the grocery store to help her out. However, when I was reading, I really started to think like Jonah and Vivian are really more alike than I thought at first when I started reading my book. And I know this because look at my jots. So I think Vivian and Jonah are both empathetic and stand up for what they believe in. In the scene I just mentioned, Vivian was able to relate to Jonah's mom by sharing her own battle with depression and how she copes with it, so that on page 125, Vivian was able to relate and be empathetic towards Jonah's mom. Another example is that Vivian, on page 126, Vivian then realizes that she's way stronger than she was before in the beginning of the book or even in previous years. And she gets frustrated with Jonah because he's not asking his mom what she needs. Instead, he's just assuming, this is what's best for you. And Vivian understands, she's empathetic, so she understands that may not be the best way to approach his mother's situation. So those are my jots. And now we're going to practice our own. So what is a stop and jot? A stop and jot is your own idea or theory about something that you've read in your book. It's supported by evidence. Stop and jots are due every Friday. Every Friday. You must include your 2 best jots from the week and include the date that it's due. So every week you want to include in your stop and jot, and of course we have handouts and we will help you if you need it. You're going to make sure you include your book title, the title of the book you're reading, your own idea or theory. You're going to include the date that it's due. So every Friday is due. You want to make sure the date is correct. Double check. You also want to include evidence. To support your idea, include page numbers so that I should be able to go into your book, open to the page, and find the evidence that you are sharing with us. And of course, give yourself credit. Include your initials. So, of course, my name is Patricia Victime, so I would include PV as my initials, the first letter of my first name and my last name. So, how are we going to grade stop and jots? All year, we will be practicing on citing textual evidence to support an analysis of what the text says, whether explicitly or implicitly, and make logical inferences. So, we're going to practice reading in between the lines based on what the author gives us. This was a skill that you will continue to practice all year. And if you are not yet there, that means maybe you're not writing your own ideas. Maybe you're summarizing more than writing your own ideas. So you're not there yet. You're getting there if you're writing your own ideas about or theories about your book, but you don't use evidence from your book to support them. Evidence, 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 and include page numbers. So you are on it, 3 stars, if you are writing your own ideas and theories about your book, and you're including quotes and specific details to support those ideas and theories. We love a good quote that supports your idea. And 4 stars, you are excelling if you write insightful and thoughtful ideas about or theories about your book. And you're including the best quotes and details from your book to support those ideas and theories. So no worries if you're not sure where you land on this chart. It is a progression chart. So that means wherever you start, you are going to grow and progress as the year goes on because you'll have lots and lots of practice. So let's try it. Let's look at an example. This is an example of what a pretty normal Stop and Jot would look. A good Stop and Jot would look like this. It has the date, it has the title, and even the author. So a strong Stop and Jot includes your own idea or theory and evidence to support your idea, including page numbers. So as I read this jot out loud, think to yourself, does this Stop and Jot have this person's own idea or theory, or are they just retelling what's happening in the book? And is there evidence to support those ideas, including page numbers? One problem Augie has a lot in the book is people commenting on his face. He often responds with humor, making fun of his face himself. On page 209, he makes a joke that ugly dolls were named after him. That makes a girl in his class laugh, and the next day she writes him a sweet note. On page 64, Augie cracks a joke with Jack Will about plastic surgery, and it helps them become friends. This means that Augie's sense of humor about his face helps people feel more comfortable around him. And then they can see Augie for the funny, smart friend he really is. So, thumbs up if you agree that this is a 4-star Stop and Jot. Thumbs in the middle if you're not really sure. Thumbs down if you're like, nope, this student could have done way better at giving own ideas and evidence. Okay, let's move on. So, now you are going to turn and talk. But first, I'm going to read the examples. So, as I'm reading, I want you to start rating in your head, what would I grade? How would I grade this person? Would I give them a 1-star, 2-star, 3 stars, or 4 stars? I think that Maven was twisted so much from his mother meddling inside his mind that now he doesn't know what beliefs and things he did was his own horrible creation for his mother's. I say this because since Alara Mirandis, Maven's mother and the late queen, was a whisper, which means she could control people and their thoughts, she used this ability on Maven since he was very young, so that he could largely manipulate his day-to-day life decisions. So, quickly, what would you rate this student's Stop and Jot? A 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, let's read the second example. This student wrote, I think a good trait to describe Anna is ambitious. I say this because on page 87, Taswia mentions that Anna is always studying and getting A's in her classes. Anna also tells Taswia that she wants to attend college early at 16 and she wants to earn a full ride scholarship to the school. Anyone who works that hard to achieve their goals is pretty ambitious. So what would you rate this student's Stop and Jot? A 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, hands down. Now we're going to turn and talk. But before we turn and talk, let's set ourselves up for success. Quickly point to someone in your area that you can talk to. Point to someone in your area that you can turn and talk with. Now, if you do not have a buddy, you can wave or signal the people in your area and ask kindly, can I join your turn and talk? And if someone is waving or kindly asking if they can join your turn and talk, the answer should be yes, so that everyone can participate. All right, now that we have partners for our turn and talk, when I say go, you're going to turn and talk about which Stop and Jot is stronger. So I just read 2 examples. I want you to discuss which one would be slightly or a lot stronger than the other. Ready? Go. All right. I am really impressed with some of the things and explanations that I heard. And I know we have great thoughts to share. So shout out, pat yourself on the back for your first turn and talk during a mini lesson. All right. So in order to write a good stop and jot, do you see how we were able to think of an original theory or an idea? Yes? No? Maybe so? Did you see how I used evidence from the text with page numbers and explained my theory? Yes? No? Maybe so? And how I have the title, the date, and initials on my post-it. And they aren't stacked means that we don't want your post-it stopper dots to look like this. We just want one at a time. Okay, spread them out throughout your book if you're using them as bookmarks. But you want to make sure you're turning in your two best stop and jots with the title, date, and initials all included. All right, well, thank you for learning with me, and I cannot wait to read your first set of jots for the year. Have a great day.